Hi guys, I'm Brody and welcome to my channel. First of all, thank you so much for all the recent subscribers I've had. I've just passed the 200 mark now, which is absolutely amazing. It just goes to show that on such a saturated platform like YouTube, there's still new room for content creators like myself. So thank you for all your support, it's much appreciated. In today's video, I've got a hunter build for you. Is it the best build going? No. Is it fun to use? Yes. Is it still viable in Endgame? Absolutely. Let's jump into Destiny and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Going to be using Blade Barrage because it's just super fun to use and there's mega damage. So this is definitely my favorite super this season. We're going to be using Acrobat's Dodge and we're also going to be contacting Destiny servers. Jump, whatever you feel comfortable with. Knife Trick. So this is going to be the bread and butter really of this build because we're going to be slinging knives around like there's no tomorrow. For grenade, we're going to use my favorite, the old faithful thermite grenade. Basically because it's going to do nice tick scorching damage, which is going to trigger ignition, so things just go boom, basically. For the aspects, I'm using On Your Mark purely because it gives you 3 fragments, okay? But Knock 'em Down, this is the main one we'll be using. While Radiant, final blows of your equipped throwing knife fully refund your melee energy. We're going to become Radiant by using our class ability, and also powered melee attacks against combatants make you and nearby allies radiant. Okay, so we've got 2 ways of becoming radiant, which is going to refund our throwing knife. For the fragments then, like I said, we've got powered melee attacks against combatants make you and nearby allies radiant. That's great because obviously we're going to become radiant ourselves and we could make allies radiant. Your class ability recharges faster when you scorch targets. So we're going to be able to proc radiant quite often. And the whole idea of this build is Radiant is going to be up all the time, okay? And plus we're going to get scorch damage from these knives and from our grenade. Radiant and Restoration effects applied to you have increased duration. So when we use our class ability, we're going to have a massive uptime on Radiant and Restoration. And defeating scorch targets grants melee energy. So again, scorch from these 2. The last one I've got is you apply more scorch stacks on targets. So the idea is when the enemies are getting scorched and they ignite, they blow up, and or not necessarily blow up, but it's like an explosion goes off within them. It might not kill them, but it's still an explosion, does a lot of damage. So we want to apply as much scorch as possible. That's the whole idea. Okay, before I start, I should probably tell you that I'm a Titan main. Okay, so my hunter's stats are pretty trash. They could be a lot better than this. Ideally, you want to be trying to get 100 mobility and 100 resilience, or as close to as possible. Whatever you can to recovery, and the rest, you know, give or take, whatever you can get in there, get them in there. But these 3 really are what you want to be trying to get up high. Weapons, use what you want. I'm using Outbreak Perfected because it's my favorite weapon in the game. I got the Catalyst and got it masterworked, and the extra damage it does is amazing. I'm using these 2, so I'm using the new Glaive plus this new Chain of Command because they've both got the Demolitionist and Adrenaline Junkie perks on, which are amazing together. For the helmet, you want Arc if you can, mainly because of hands-on. So we've got double hands-on, gain bonus super energy on melee kills. So we're going to be using our knife to get melee kills all the time, which is going to help us get Blade Barrage a lot quicker. Elemental Ordnance, so when we kill an enemy with grenades, we get an Elemental Wells, which recharges our abilities. For the gauntlets, go Void, a Focus and Strike, double of this again, okay? So grant class ability energy when you cause damage with a melee attack. Again, we're melee attacking all the time, so we've got 2 throwing knives because of our exotic chest piece, which I'll get to in a second. But with this as well, we've got Melee Well Maker, powered melee combatant final blow, spawn elemental wells matching your subclass energy type. So it's very melee focused with the helmet and the arms we've got so far. Plus this is going to give us an elemental well when we kill enemies with melee attacks, which we're doing all the time. Yeah, for the exotic chest piece, we're using the Ophidia Spaith. I'm sorry if I'm butchering a lot of these words. I'm not doing it on purpose. I'm actually dyslexic, so I don't do words too good. So the perk on here is it grants 2 knives per charge. So we're getting our knives back if we kill an enemy whilst we're radiant, okay? And we're becoming radiant by hitting enemies with our knives and also using our class ability. Well of Life, just for a bit more survivability. And again, these two mods here are damage reduction perks, which I highly recommend you use, especially if you're a bit squishy like my hunter. So that's our main exotic piece, okay? And we're gonna always have 2 knives to throw, always be radiant, always have our class ability up to have restoration. On the legs, bountiful wows. So every time you get a wow from a grenade or a melee kill, we'll be getting 2 wows, and we're getting a lot of melee kills. And just replenish health and reduce all ability cooldowns each time you pick up orbs of power. And then the Hunter's Cloak is another important one. If you can, get stasis because of utility Kickstarter. When your class ability energy is fully expanded, you gain class ability energy. Okay, so the minute you do your acrobatic dodge, you're going to get a portion of your class ability energy back. So highly recommend that. And this is how we're getting restoration. Classy restoration. It's like the go-to class item mod for the season, absolutely. So activating your solar class ability grants you restoration, which basically makes you invincible or not far from it for 10 seconds. So that's the build. I'll show you after this little bit of gameplay, but I'll show you 1 or 2 things to change on the mark if you're going into solo last sectors. The gameplay I've got is of a master solo last sector, or if you want to do nightfalls, anything which involves champions really. Just change a couple of things on here, which I'll show you in a minute. But we'll just go and do like a normal last sector now, just so I can show you, what the gameplay loop is. The idea is with our two throwing knives, we can kill most ads pretty easy, instantly get our throwing knives back. But when you come up against a bigger enemy, if you throw both knives at them, it's going to massively scorch them, which is going to cause them to ignite, and they'll explode. Might not kill them straight away, but it'll do a lot of damage, and it'll do an area of effect damage to anything that stood around them. So let's have a look. So these guys, look, just easy ads. Constantly getting radiant, literally just throwing knives for days. Always got 2. So if I don't finish them off with the first throwing knife, always got the second for backup. You literally go through the whole last sector just throwing these. See, I missed that first one, but it's okay. Got another one. I want to show you a big enemy though, really. That's the whole point. Oh, I missed him. But you saw that. Okay, so you saw him blow up then. That was from ignition. Scorched him enough that he ignited. And you can even make the explosions even bigger by putting on Ember of Eruption and Ember of Char is really good, because when they explode, it's going to spread scorch over targets. So that's just a real good fun mobbing build, and a build that's going to get you through strikes easy enough, or just basic gameplay. But let me show you the build I made for harder content with champions, and it just involves taking these off and putting on Revitalizing Blast. So what this is going to do is when we stun a champion, the ignite effect that we're getting from using our throwing knives and scorching targets is going to happen to the champions, which is going to do big damage to them and anything else around them. And again, you could make this more powerful by changing up these aspects. So maybe switching out one of these for Ember of Eruption would be brilliant. But let me show you the gameplay. I've just got some clips I'll show you. It's a level 1590 master last sector, which I'm doing solo. And I'll put the gameplay up now and show you how that it's still viable in endgame. I'll be using different weapons for the last sector for the different champions, obviously. We've got unstoppable champions, so I'll have to put an unstoppable scout rifle on. Going to use Ariana's Vow because that disrupts barrier champions, and got an auto-loading frenzy rocket launcher. And friendly reminder that anything auto-loading when you're taking on champions is an absolute godsend, okay? And you'll see why in a second. But Ariana's Vow, when you get the catalyst for this and masterwork it, it increases the magazine size, and holstering this weapon automatically reloads it after a short period of time. So when you've got a barrier champion, auto-loading rocket launcher and something like Ariana's Vow are perfect together, okay? So the only thing you're reloading is your scout rifle. So the idea is you stun the champion, stunning a barrier champion with Ariana's Vow, they're just going to ignite and explode, do damage around them. And the same with Unstoppables. It's just going to stun them, do a big explosion, and it's going to blow anything up around them as well. Let's show you the gameplay. So in this clip, I'm going to stun the champion with my scout rifle, which is going to cause him to ignite and do a fair bit of damage. And then I'm going to throw a grenade, 2 throwing knives, which is going to cause him to ignite again, do even more damage. And then it's just a case of stunning him and finishing him off. Okay. And this clip, I'm just going to use one of these ads to get my double throwing knives up, because this is the start of the last sector this is, and you don't actually get 2 knives on the fly to start off with. So I'm going to just tickle this ad a little bit, kill him with my throwing knife, so I've got 2 throwing knife charges, do the same thing with the champion, but this time I'm going to kill him next to a barrel and another enemy, just so you can see that when I stun him and he ignites, the damage that he does around him. Okay, so you can see, really easy, not struggling with this at all. It's a 1590 master last sector, and it's a breeze. If you can just separate the champions and just keep doing this, it's really easy. The next clip's a barrier champion, and this is a perfect example of how Ignition, when it's procced in the right place, can do huge damage to other enemies and barrels or whatever is in the environment as well. So just take a look at this clip. So I'm going to stun him with Ariana's Vow. He ignites and just does all that damage around him. Look. Same with this Unstoppable. Same with that Unstoppable. Just killed the enemies next to him. This little clip I've just thrown in just for a double knife throw here, just to show you that it just takes 2 knives to make them ignite. Didn't quite kill him, but we weren't far off. So what I'm doing here is I'm using my class ability to go Radiant and to get Restoration. And then I'm using these 2 Unstoppable champions basically to kill each other. So I'm going to stun one, he's going to ignite, do damage to the other one. I'm going to stun the other one, he's going to ignite and do damage to the one that's already stunned. And I'm going to just try and show you that you can, use the enemies to your advantage. So I just use them to blow each other up, look. There I just used the Unstoppable champion to blow up a barrel. Did big damage to the champion and also the boss. Blade Barrage just doing some work here. Finish him off with a double throwing knife. Make him ignite and explode. And I'm going to get the box. That's my Ignition build. I hope you like it. It's a bit different, super fun. Especially when you're just doing normal content, you're just throwing knives constantly, becoming Radiant. Like I say, it's absolutely viable in harder content as well. You just got to change the 2 mods on your cloak. And I'm sure half of you have got a better hunter than I have. I've been Brody. Thank you again for watching. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing. I stream every Saturday and Sunday, playing Destiny, helping viewers do nightfalls and exotic quests. This Sunday we spent about 3 hours just master nightfall farming just so we could get ascendant shards. We're completely chill. You don't need to have a microphone if you want to join in. You can just sit back and play and relax. Just say in the chat if you want to help doing something and we can play. Okay, thanks again for all your support. Hopefully next time I speak to you I've got 300 subscribers. Bye bye.